everybody, and welcome back to the stream. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class. For some reason, I always want to say it's time for the weekend kickoff, but no. No, it's Wednesday. We are, sadly, still pretty far from the weekend. But that's why we have this class, to give us a little bit of midweek pick-me-up, which, you know, we can usually use. So, welcome. Hope everybody's doing well. I've been pumping up with sea shanties, so I'm feeling very happy right now. If anybody is an aficionado of shanty music or that style of sort of seafaring folk music, the Longest Johns is a band I just discovered. And they are fantastic. I have their album, what's it called? Between Wind and Water. Between Wind and Water is the name of the album. And it's just an absolute delight. And they've got a lot of well-known shanties on there, but they put their own spin on them in a really delightful way while still staying really true to a lot of the musical roots of the songs themselves. So, strong recommend. I've been listening to a lot of music this week. The other band that I'm really getting into is the Seattle Garages, which is a band I discovered during Desert Bus for Hope, and they are associated somehow with Blaseball, not baseball, Blaseball. And no, I don't actually fully know or understand what it is, because everything that I hear says that it is a rabbit hole of a pastime, and I don't have time for another rabbit hole of a pastime. I've got plenty of those going on right now. So, but the band, The Garages, is fantastic, and you don't need to know a thing about Blaseball to enjoy their particular brand of music. So yeah, there you go. Music recommendations on Blanche Case Fitness. You know, it's nice. It's nice to be getting back into listening to music. I haven't done that in a long time. And I mean, when I was growing up, there was always music playing in the house. My dad in particular is a huge audiophile and just lover of all types of music. So I heard everything growing up from doo-wop and Motown to Tupac to the Bulgarian Women's Choir, just so many different types of music, and it left me with a very deep love of music. But I don't know, it's remarkable the things that sort of fall away when you no longer have somebody else sort of taking care of them for you. You know, my dad was sort of the DJ of most of my growing up experience, and once he wasn't around, I didn't really do a great job of DJing for myself. So I'm getting better at that now. I've got the record player. I've been buying lots of albums on iTunes, and it's nice. It's nice to have music back in my world. So yeah, there we go. It's good to have fun things to listen to, art to consume. If you, like me, understand how important art is of all different kinds, then please consider supporting your favorite artists, whether they're musicians, visual artists, actors, and theater companies, bands, what have you. There's a lot of people struggling out there right now, my friends. A lot of people struggling out there, and it's going to get worse for a lot of those industries before it gets better. PAX is over here releasing potential dates for conventions in 2021, and I'm just like, that is a bold strategy, Cotton. But even if PAX does end up going down, there are so many visual artists out there, dice makers, map makers, so many people who a huge part of their yearly income comes from doing the con circuit. And whether or not PAX actually goes forward with these dates in 2021, a lot of conventions won't be able to. Denver Pop Culture Con has already announced that they're canceled for 2021. And so it's like, these people are struggling. They are struggling. So if you have a favorite artist that you follow on Twitter, or favorite musician, a theater company that you used to go to a lot, consider donating to those folks, because our artistic sectors are really crucial to our happiness as humans, and to our continued engagement with one another and imagination building. And well, at least here in the United States of America, we don't give a shit, apparently. Hey, so yeah, there we go. I'm trying to do my bit by buying music when I can, donating to my favorite theater groups when I can, purchasing goods when I can. It's hard, and it's hard for everybody. And if you're in a bad financial situation yourself, take care of your financial health. It is extremely important. But whatever we can all do to sort of pull together and figure this stuff out together, the better off we will all be. But for now, we are not probably going to have the lung capacity to sing for the next hour, because we're here to do cardio. Woo woo! If this is your first time here on the stream, welcome. Hi. What I say to new people, to people who this is their first class or one of their first classes, is all I want you to do is the bare minimum. And what that means, it means 3 things: starting on time, stopping on time, and doing the exercise correctly. All right? The first 2 are going to be taken care of by the interval timer that I use. We're going to be doing a lot of Tabata timers, so it will be very clear when you're supposed to start an activity and when you're supposed to stop it. As for the third one, I dig a lot into form with my classes. It is one of the foundations of exercise from my perspective. I find it hugely important, so I will go into a lot of detail. But if you just focus on those 3 things, you will get an amazing workout. I don't want you over here going, all right, I'm here for cardio class, I'm going to 120%, because then you won't have a good time and you'll feel bad tomorrow, and then you won't want to come back, and that doesn't help either of us. Because this class is only useful if it becomes something that you are able to do consistently. So don't torture yourself. Bare minimum. And on that note, let's do our pre-class checklist. Yeah. So we've got our water in whatever vessel we have available. I've got my trusty mason jar here, which I really love because it holds more water than my water bottle. And because I'm alone in my living room, I don't need to worry about spilling everywhere or somebody else knocking that over, because it's only me. Hey. We've got our comfy clothes on, whatever that means to you. We've got our mat or mat-sized space on the floor. And if you are using a fitness wearable, now is the time to turn them on to a high-intensity interval training setting. If you don't have one, that's fine. It is not in any way a requirement. Just something I mentioned because it's something I use. I know a lot of people do use them, find them helpful. Awesome. If you don't find them helpful, again, do not feel obligated or pressured to go out and spend a lot of money on a fitness wearable. They are not necessary, okay? And for some people, they are more anxiety causing than helpful, you know? I really didn't fall into my rhythm with mine until I turned off all of the notifications. So I was no longer getting these like passive aggressive, like, hey, you know, your move ring is usually a little further along by this point in the day. You want to like go out for a walk or something? Like, those are great for some people. Those are really helpful for some people. And that's awesome. If they're not helpful for you, modify. You know, okay? Turn off the notifications or don't get the damn thing in the first place. It's important because, you know, a lot of things are sold to us as you need this to do X, Y, or Z correctly. And more often than not, it's not true. And that is the same thing with exercise. So, like when we talk about having comfy clothes, you know, I'm wearing spandexy, moisture wicking stuff, mostly from Target, so I'm not going all out on this outfit. But if you are comfortable working out in a cotton t-shirt and swim shorts, go for it, okay? You do not have to spend a ton of money on anything that you use for exercise. And one of the beautiful things about this class is that it's all body weight, so you can do it literally wherever you are. And on that note, let's get started. Yeah! So we start with our warm-up, as always. Oh, that's not the screen I wanted. There we go. Alright, moving over to our mats. Hiya. So let's start out on our mats, on our backs, 1 foot cross over the opposite knee. And as soon as we hear that horn, we start in with our hip rocks and bridges. Alright, so this is our starting exercise, and really we are just kicking off movement. Okay, so I'm not, going for maximum height on anything in this. I'm not over here going, all right, I gotta rock all the way up to the top there, and I gotta really bridge up as high as I can go. No, this is just for me to start activating some muscle groups, start waking up the body and booting up all of the systems that I'm gonna need over the next hour. When we're doing this exercise, one of the things that can get lost is that it's actually a really great place to start activating our core, our abdominal muscles, which are hugely important for so much of what we do. I cannot stress that enough. Our cores are critical muscles for stability, for generating movement, rotational movement, and it's just really important that we give them, specific attention and strengthen them up. So this is a great opportunity to start paying attention to how aware are you of your abdominal muscles and whether they are actually working. So when I go to rock my hips up in the air, I'm not just pushing against the ground with this foot and going, oh, that will get it up. That's not going to actually get my hips up that high. I am engaging my core, contracting those core muscles, and that pulls my hips up into the air. So this is my first opportunity to start to understand how engaging my core can then lift other areas of my body. And that comes in really handy for a lot of exercises that we do. All right, moving on to our leg section. Here we are, starting with our Jane Fonda. Remember, we do have 3 exercises on this side before we switch to the other side and do those 3 exercises again. So don't switch sides when we get to the end of this particular interval, because we got 2 more things to do over here, okay? So here we are, balanced on one hip, a nice straight line of the body, okay? So make sure that you don't have your feet like forward or backward. You are just in a nice straight line. And if you need help with that, hey, look at that. Nice straight line of your yoga mat to line up against and start to feel what it feels like to get your body into this position. All right, top foot in front of the bottom knee, flat on the floor, and we are now lifting the bottom leg instead of the top leg. And we are holding this knee open and pointing up towards the ceiling. So this is an important place to dig into form for the first time. Again, sort of a low stress place for us to start figuring out appropriate knee positioning, particularly for squats when we get up on our feet. So right now, because my left hip is so flexible, I can just sort of set myself in this position and not really have to engage any of the muscles in my hip to pull the knee back. It's going to be different for everybody. So you may need to pull the knee back. It may be trying to cave itself forward. This is a good place to start practicing that motion. All right. Now we've got our third exercise. This is our beach pose. It is nice and relaxed because we've got that top foot flat on the floor behind the bottom knee. So we've got this nice stable position. We're not worried about balance anymore. I'm not worried about my hips rolling backward or forward because this is here to sort of hold us in place. So I'm just focusing on lifting that leg right here. And again, feeling what muscles get engaged throughout this leg lift, okay? The inner thigh is obviously working, but are you feeling a little bit of engagement in those lower obliques over here? You will probably feel some of that. So just in the quieter moments, always try and take stock of what sensations you feel, what muscle groups you feel are working. All right, now we are on the other side doing the exact same 3 things. Woo! So it's important for you to start developing spatial awareness, and there are sort of two parts to that. One is just understanding where other things and other people are in the room in relation to you, which comes into play in this class because we're working out generally in spaces that are not designed for exercise. Like my living room, not particularly well set up for this. So if I'm doing stuff that extends much past the ends of my mat, I have to be aware so that I'm not knocking into a bookcase or knocking into some furniture or stuff like that. The other component of spatial awareness is understanding where my limbs are in space and how it feels, so and developing that sort of core vocabulary so that if a teacher comes to you down the line, not necessarily even me, and says, all right, I want you to lie on your side in a perfectly straight line, you don't have to fiddle around or line yourself up with the edge of a mat or anything like that. You can just set yourself in that position and go. Or, as we stand up and I start telling you things like, all right, take your feet hip width apart, understanding what that feels like so you can just literally put your feet in that position without having to shuffle around, look down, make sure that your legs are going straight down from your hips and stuff like that. And taken together, spatial awareness is really going to help push your exercise abilities to the next level. It's learning more about our body, learning more about the sensations of different movements, learning how it moves through space, how different limbs move through space. And once I have that, then it's easier for me to isolate movements, So we have a lot of exercises that require us to move one part of the body one way and another part of the body another way, but to keep it all sort of cohesive. And one of the ways that we make that easier for ourselves is just having that understanding of what does it feel like when I lift my leg like this versus versus away from the midline. What does it feel like when I twist my lower back like this? What does it feel like when I go down into a squat? All right, so just start to learn how all of these things feel, okay? And the more you learn about that, the easier new exercises and new classes and new activities will be, because you won't have to spend as much time trying to figure out the base vocabulary. You'll already have it. You'll have that vocabulary of movement, and you'll be able to start there and move forward a lot more quickly through all of the exercises, okay? So, all right, now we're standing. Speaking of standing, and holding our imaginary PVC pipe up above our heads, and we're doing nice big torso rotations. I change directions every 2 rotations or so, just so that I am not, only working one side and not the other. We're only doing this on this one interval, so we're not going to get to reverse it on the next timer. We're going into something different. So make sure you are changing your direction every couple of rotations and generating the movement from your hips, not from your arms, okay? Your arms are staying in exactly the same place with relation to your head the whole time. And now, our first official squats of class. Hey, so still holding that imaginary pipe above our heads, all right? And this is our first opportunity to start checking in on that knee positioning. So our knees should always be going straight over our feet, not caving in towards one another, okay? And sometimes you can get down just fine, but as you try to push up, that's when your knees try to come together. So if your knees are caving in towards each other at any point, narrow the stance. My stance right now is about shoulder width, maybe even a little wider. Narrow the stance, try again. Okay, I can maintain the form here and stay here for as many classes as you need to before you're like, okay, I feel like I am strong enough to try widening that stance again. All right. And now we are into our Samson stretches. Ow, just stepped on a rock on the floor or something. That's the fun thing about winter, is it just seems to always ramp up the amount of random detritus that ends up in my apartment. So much fun. So much fun. All right. So we're opening up our hip flexors right now, the front of our hip flexors. So keep those hips pointing straight forward and not opening out away from each other. And just feel the stretch right there. And now we get into this wide turned out squat, and that squat gets held there. The only thing that we're moving are our shoulders, one at a time, in towards the midline, just getting a twist in the top of the spine. All right, the scorpion twists got a twist into the bottom up to the mid spine, and this is rounding it out, okay? So we've got our hands on our knees. That makes it a lot easier to keep our knees safely over our feet. So enjoy that, because there are definitely exercises out there where you do not have that benefit, and you need to be able to maintain this position using just your leg and hip muscles, all right? Okay, and now we've hit cardio. So we start out just with super small jumping jacks, all right? So again, we have been ramping up over the course of this warm-up, and you can feel it, right? We've been moving through very distinct phases, and now we've hit cardio, but we're still not trying to be going full tilt, all right? We're still finishing that boot up sequence. So this is our opportunity to get our cardiovascular system really going, all right? Our heart rate starts to come up a little bit. Our breathing starts to get a bit faster, but we can achieve that without doing full jumping jacks, all right? Just nice, small jumping jacks. And now we go into our kick throughs. If this is a new exercise for you, it's got a lot of components. So one at a time. I've got my standing arm, shoulder directly over wrist and engaged, not sinking down, okay? I've got my standing leg, 90-degree angle, knee pointing up towards the ceiling, not caving forward, and leg kicked across my body. Don't let your butt come down towards the floor. Again, the standing leg, 90 degrees. And then you come through the center and you switch to the other side. So you can take this very slowly and steadily while you get used to all of the components, okay? Don't feel the need to speed it up before you're ready. But now, we're finishing out with our burpees. Huzzah! So, we're doing a wave push-up. So jumping into that plank, but then wave down, wave up, feet forward, and a nice big victory clap at the top. Make sure you're keeping your elbows in by your sides, not letting them fan out during the push-up. All right, that is a big thing for the push-up form that I use. I like to focus the work on the triceps and keeping those elbows basically glued to your sides really helps that out. All right? Hey! And then we're done with that warm-up. Well done, my friends. And now, our favorite part of class, getting water. Haha. All right. Oh yeah. Water is always super important. Whenever I bust my fitness mom voice out, it's generally to remind people to hydrate, because Lord knows we adult humans are real bad at it. All right. Today is going to be a fun one. We're just going to play around with types of timers, number of exercises, just have some fun, all right? So we're going to start with, all of these timers are Tabatas. We're going to start with 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, which is the classic. We're going to have 3 exercises and cycle through them 3 times each, okay? So here are our 3 exercises. We're going to do something new today. I'm calling it aerobics knees, basically. So we're familiar with the squat with the knee raise, which is sort of very controlled. And I mean, you can speed it up, but it's kind of controlled. Today, we're going to do a quick squat and then lift the knee and introduce a twist. So activate the obliques, twist one elbow to the opposite knee, down, up, down, up, down, up, okay? You don't need to put the elbow directly on top of the knee because that'll sort of stop you cold, all right? So this is sort of a standing, we're working our legs, but we're also getting some nice ab core activation in there. Second exercise is going to be turtle waves. So we start with our roll up on the shoulders, then up on the feet, jump back to that plank, and then wave push up and repeat, okay? And then our third exercise is flying chickens. So standing up, feet together. For our flying chicken jump, I jump the feet out apart from each other in the air and then land them in the same place they started. So out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. And for the arms, thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can just hook them behind your bra straps, and we're just flapping our elbows. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay? So those are our 3. Aerobics knees, turtle waves, and flying chickens. So everybody back on your mats. Remember, it's a Tabata timer, so the first sound does not mean go. That is our stop and relax sound. Then we hear knock, 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 which tells us to get into position, because the next sound is telling us to start, okay? So when we go back to the bare minimum and we talk about starting on time, for the Tabatas, it is super easy to know what that means, because it just means make sure that when that starting horn goes, you're moving. Same for stopping. When that stopping horn goes, you can stop, not before, okay? So it's really easier today than it is on like our more perpetual motion focused classes, where you have to figure out how to move from one exercise to the other with a minimum amount of time. All right, now, hey, here we are with our flying chickens, the most majestic of barnyard fowls. And keep in mind that there's not a ton of form notes for this, but some core activation is going to help, because I'm sort of flinging my limbs in a bunch of different directions, and activating my core helps to control them and bring them all back together where I want them. All right, you have just started your second time through, so we're back to those aerobics knees. Man, I used to teach an aerobics class my senior year, or the summer before my senior year, I think. So the mom of one of my high school friends taught aerobics for a really long time, and my mom and I used to go and take. It was a good class. And one year she went away over the summer, and she didn't want people to have to stop taking the class, so she had me teach the classes. And you know, I pick up movement really easily. I pick up patterns really easily. So I could basically just slide into place and exactly mimic the types of classes she was designing without having to put a ton of extra thought into it. But you know, step aerobics kind of gets a weird cultural rap because we associate it with, you know, suburban housewives, and we have a lot of negative connotations for them. But it's a really good workout. You know, you're moving the whole time, lots of cardio, lots of abdominal engagement. Frequently, you're doing exercises with small weights, and you're stepping up and down onto your step, so that adds additional strengthening. So it really is a pretty awesome workout. And sometimes I'm a little sad that that style of class has kind of died out over the years, because it really was fun. It really was a lot of fun. So who knows, maybe I'll try and reintroduce step aerobics to the broader culture over 2021. We'll see. we'll see what happens. But for now, we always have aerobics knees. Hey, and now we have break time and water time. Huzzah. All right. Nice big breaths, getting that heart rate back under control, getting your breathing back under control. That's one of the biggest things that we're training towards with high intensity interval training. You know, we have a lot of intense movement in a really short time span, and then we get a little bit of rest, and we have to learn in that rest how to reset to our baseline or near enough to it that when the timer goes again, we can keep pushing with the same degree of intensity the whole time. It's really intense. It's sort of a perfect work interval. Particularly, you know, if you don't feel like you have a ton of time for exercise, like just do a few tabatas, traditional tabatas throughout the day, and you're already getting a pretty solid workout there. All right, let's move to 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. All right, so we're upping the work interval by 10 seconds. You wouldn't think that that has a huge impact, but it does, so be ready. And our 3 exercises, we're gonna have flaming scarlets, which arms in a V for victory, and they stay here no matter what. And then we're just jumping from foot to foot, trying to get that knee up above the hip crease, okay? And that's all we're doing. Then second exercise is push-ups. I do not care if you're doing your push-ups from the knees, from a plank, if you're doing wave push-ups or half wave, half plank, or if you need to get up and do wall push-ups. All of that is fine. What I do care about is keeping that plank nice and sturdy, keeping those shoulders directly over the wrists, and keeping those elbows in right next to the body at all points in the push-up, okay? And then our third exercise, it's shrimps. Oh my goodness, I haven't even shifted the mat around. So shrimps, where we will move ourselves, this is a core exercise, moving ourselves back and forth along our mats by first rocking shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips, shoulders, then hips. Oh no, I got to the end. What do? I start going back in the opposite direction. So this is one of those exercises with a lot of moving parts where you got to be able to isolate the movement of different parts of your body. So this is one of those things that we were definitely alluding to when we talked about spatial awareness earlier. All right, so everybody on your mat, remember 30-second work intervals, but the same 10 seconds of rest. So we are reducing the proportion of rest to exercise. So be prepared, arms in a V, hey. So we start with our flaming scarlets. Make sure that you are not letting your elbows start to sag. And yeah, our aspiration is to get our knees up above that hip crease, but the most important thing is that you are getting your knees up as high as they will go. Maybe that's not up above the hip crease yet, but we are not gently trotting, okay? You are lifting that, you're lifting those knees as high as you can. All right, and now we're doing our push-ups, not quite as intense from a cardio perspective, but still something that we can really push for intensity, for strength and stability, and
you know, a little bit of speed. See how many reps you're able to do this first time, and see if you're able to up it slightly next time around. Woo. All right, I started a little early. Always remember that when it comes to starting on time and stopping on time, with only a couple of exceptions, the thing to pay attention to is the interval timer and not me, all right? I am just a human. I will be fallible, or I'll be caught up talking about something and miss the end, or I'll start a sequence before we needed to start it. So, you know, I'm often in teacher land. The interval timer does not care whether I'm off in teacher land. It will always start and stop you on time. So don't wait around for me to tell you when to start or to start doing things, because I'm not doing every single set with you guys. So sometimes I will not start a set, and you need to make sure that you have started that set, okay? All right, we're coming back through to our second run of push-ups. And let's make sure that the form is just as good the second time around as it was the first time, okay? And even if you're doing push-ups from the knees, you can still maintain a pretty long planked form, all right? So you don't want to be in like, what is that, like a cow position in yoga, something like that. You want to have as much of a straight line from the tip of your head to your knees as possible. So keep that in mind. Doing push-ups from the knees, totally fine. You'll see that I frequently do that, just because it's easier for me to do the style of push-ups and still be chattering away to you guys. But again, form above everything else, all right? I would rather have you do 2 perfect push-ups and just rest the rest of the time than to do 20 push-ups and have your form be out of joint, all right? Because that's how we set ourselves up for chronic injuries, and they're no fun. All right, so here we are, our third and final time, and this is always the true testing ground of where we are in our journey and in our fitness. How are you doing at managing your energy through this class, all right? We have a lot that we're doing, a lot of high intensity stuff that we're doing, and we need to make sure that we can push ourselves, but we also need to make sure that we have the energy to make it through an entire hour of this level of movement. So that's another reason why when you're just starting out, I want you to just focus on the bare minimum, because that truly is more than enough from an intensity perspective to really get you working hard. And, you know, it's more doable. And that's the important thing. There's a lot of unhealthy tendencies in fitness culture, and one of them is teaching this no pain, no gain mentality that tends to make people a lot worse at listening to the signals that their bodies are sending them, and, you know, interpreting those signals and going, oh, okay, I need to back off a little bit. I need to, dial down the number of reps, dial down the intensity, maybe modify the exercise entirely. And I always want you to feel comfortable doing that, because getting an injury is going to be far more harmful for your overall exercise fitness practice than taking it slow at the beginning of the process, all right? And even if you've been active your whole life, when you're starting a new activity, a new style of class, treat it like you are a beginner, all right? You are a beginner with probably better spatial awareness, better understanding of your body, but you're still a beginner. There are things to learn in any discipline of movement. And when we come in thinking, oh, well, I've got, 30 years of dance training, I can totally do free weights just fine, that's how we end up hurting ourselves, all right? Okay. Now, we are going to do our biggest Tabata interval. 45 seconds work intervals and 15-second rest interval. So we up the rest by a little bit, which is lovely, but we are also upping the work. And for this one, we're just going to have 2 exercises and cycle through them 4 times in total. So 8 minutes. First exercise is going to be bicycles. So I'm going to engage, contract my core, my abdominal muscles, to lift my shoulders and my chest off the floor. All right? I'm not pulling myself up with my shoulders. It's literally, I engage here, and that lifts everything up. And then one knee in towards the chest, the other leg extended but off the floor, and we're reaching one elbow to the opposite knee, and then switching. So we just go back and forth. Keep your hands in front of your face. Don't put them behind your head, because that gives us a tendency to try and pull our heads forward in an unhealthy way. And then people are like, man, my neck's really stiff when I do ab work, and I get these tension headaches. I'm like, well, that tells me that you're not actually generating the movement from the engagement of your core muscles. Second exercise is going to be jump rope without a jump rope, unless you have a jump rope at home, in which case, feel free. But for those of us who don't, we can still hold an invisible jump rope and just go. And the nice thing about that is that we don't have to worry about whapping our toes with our invisible jump rope, all right? So just those 2 exercises, which is awesome. And we're just alternating between them, back and forth. And that sound still doesn't mean go. That's our rest sound. We get a longer rest, which always throws me off, because I'm like, why haven't I heard the knocking yet? There it is. But it's because the rest period is longer. But now we are going, all right? This exercise, once you actually start using your core, gets real intense real fast, because we're using every part of our abdominals, all right? I'm engaging the main abdominals to, keep my shoulders off the floor, and then activating the obliques to generate that rotation to move my elbows side to side to the opposite knee. And by the end of 45 seconds, holy crow, I am already feeling it. Oh, whew. But we can't stop there, because that was only our first time through. So we get up, knock, 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 getting ourselves into position and going. with our invisible jump rope. So again, the nice thing about not having to manage a real life jump rope is that we're not in danger of catching it on anything, our feet, the edge of the mat, anything like that. So we can speed up the jumping past where we might be able to go if we were using a regular rope. Make sure, again, it doesn't feel like a core exercise, but engaging the stability of the core just helps to maintain the position. It's never a bad idea. All right? Oh yeah, there we go. We are doing cardio this week, my friends, and boy, does it feel good. Hopefully you heard the knocking just then, and now you are starting your second round of bicycles. I don't know why the knocking sound has so much trouble coming through the speakers on just this one interval, only the 45-15. So my apologies if you missed it. I will try to call it out better because that's a known issue. It's just something with the lag time between my phone and the signal it's sending to my speaker. So, you know, not a ton we can do about it, sadly, but I at least have the ability to go, hey, there was that knock, knock, knock. All right, so that was your second time through the bicycles. I bet your core is feeling some things. And if it's not, well, it's entirely possible that you are not actually engaging the core muscles. It's one of those things too, where a lot of times I've realized over my years, you know, moving, taking classes, doing stuff, I've realized that a lot of times when somebody tells me to expect a certain sensation or activation in a certain area and I don't feel it, it's not because, oh, I'm already super strong, I've already got a really solid core or anything like that. It's more likely because I am not using the correct muscle group to do the exercise. You know, I've always considered myself as having a strong core, and I think that I did, but my core strength has shot through the roof this year, just with teaching and taking class along with you, and I can feel the difference. I know when I'm doing this right now that I am, in fact, holding my shoulders and chest up because my abdominal muscles are engaged. And, you know, I don't get sore, but I feel it. I feel that fatigue, especially right now. We're doing 45 seconds. If you're not getting to the end of these 45 seconds and going, oh my God, I am really feeling my abdominal muscles right now, then you need to check in and see if you are actually activating those muscles when you do the exercise, or if you are unknowingly trying to compensate with other muscle groups. All right? All right, time for our jump ropes. Here we go. And again, we can go for more speed than maybe you're able to usually achieve with a jump roping exercise, which is always really cool. And, you know, there's power in visualizing things, which is why we're still doing the arm movement, even though we're not holding an actual jump rope, because this reminds our brains of what the exercise usually is. And then when we actually have that equipment again, our brain is still in the habit of understanding how the exercise is performed. And you may even find that you have improved. All right, last time through. So here's our last run of the bicycles. And again, it is so important that your form here in this fourth time through is just as good and solid as your form the first time we did this, okay? Maybe you have slowed down your movement from side to side, or maybe despite your best efforts, you collapse down for a second, reset, and go again. Again, I am always going to push because that's my job, and because a lot of times it's helpful for us to have that external voice to inspire us to push and challenge ourselves. But I also always want you to understand where your body is, and I want you to always remember that I would rather you just do 2 perfect reps and then just lie there the rest of the time than keep going the whole time being aware that you are not doing the exercise correctly. All right, we are finishing strong with our imaginary jump rope, having a grand old time. I didn't jump rope for years until I got a bit into boxing when I moved out to Colorado. And it was definitely the first time I had touched a jump rope, probably since middle school PE class. And then later when I found this class, and our teacher was like, I bet it's been ages since any of you used a jump rope. And I was like, haha, it has not, in fact, been ages for me. Oh, good job, my friends. Very good job. If you feel a little redness or pain in your ankles, that may just mean that you are clacking them together in the jump rope. Jump. You know, it's not great, maybe painful tomorrow. I definitely end up doing that quite frequently, I must admit. But let's grab some water. All right. And we have 2 more sets to do, okay? So we're going back down to 30-second work intervals and 10-second rest intervals. And we're just doing 2 exercises this time, okay? Not 3. So we're doing exactly what we just did with the 45-15s, except we're doing it with a 30-10 instead. And our 2 exercises, first one is going to be mountain climbers, but it's going to be double leg mountain climbers. So we are going to start in that same plank position, shoulders directly over wrists, butts out of the air. Jump the feet forward so that your knees land on the outside of each of your elbows, and then back into that plank, and then forward and back, forward and back. All right, to show you from the front, I'm basically jumping into this like low frog position, except I'm keeping the stability in my shoulders, hands on the ground, so I can then jump backwards. And then the second exercise is boat rocks. Another one where it's very easy for us to go, oh, well, also, obviously I'm super strong because I didn't even feel that. And for it to actually be, I'm just not activating my core. So we start up, balanced on the tailbone in this pike position, but I'm going to contract my abs so that I round out my lower back like this, because then I'm going to rock back onto my back and then back up into the balance. I overshot there a little bit. So down and up and down and up. You need that abdominal engagement the whole time, because if you drift into a flat back, ow, suddenly you're stuck on the floor, okay? So those are our 2 exercises, double-legged mountain climbers and boat rocks. So let us get onto our mats, and still remembering that the first sound does not mean go. Oh, it's so wonderful. Ah. So we can relax. I mean, not relax, but we can slowly get in position, get ready, and we go. So one of the tendencies that we have with this exercise, especially if you haven't built up your shoulder strength and stamina, is we will hit a position and be like, oh my God, can I just stay here for a second? We'll sort of like bounce here and then jump back and bounce here. I want you to be moving consistently the whole time, all right? So we are not holding a position. As soon as your feet land forward or back, they are immediately moving to the other position. All right. Now we're doing our boat rocks. And again, this is definitely an exercise that where it took me a long time to really be confident that I was doing it correctly and engaging the core the whole time. And now boat rocks, it's in many ways the easiest exercise to compensate with other muscles because you're rocking onto your back, you get an assist from the momentum, and so if you're not really concentrating, the core engagement gets kind of lost in the shuffle. All right, so just keep that in mind. Of course, right now we're doing double-legged mountain climbers, so keep it in mind for a few seconds from now when we move to the next exercise. Woo. All right, resting, swinging around into position. There were our knocks, and now we are going. So yeah, it's important to know how to round out the back by engaging the abs. Visualize your belly button trying to go tunnel backwards towards your spine, okay? And that will help you to be like, okay, I am actually activating and contracting my abdominal muscles right now. All right, so we are halfway through, which is exciting. I'm gonna take my glasses off for these because it's definitely an exercise where your head is sort of awkwardly bouncing around a lot, and my glasses can withstand a lot over the course of a class, but they definitely start to fall off my face a little bit. So if you also wear glasses, let me tell you, I don't usually wear glasses when I exercise. These glasses are the exception because I like to be able to, read chat and make sure nothing weird's going on with the stream and all that fun stuff. But usually for a class like this, I would absolutely take my glasses off at the beginning. I recognize that can be difficult in terms of watching me demonstrate. So, obviously, if you need to throw them on while I'm demonstrating exercises, go for it. But if your glasses are just adding unnecessary complications to your workout, ditch them. You don't need them. All right? And it's a lot easier to concentrate on your form when you're not also trying to concentrate on keeping your glasses on your face. All right, finishing up our last run of double-legged mountain climbers. Any mountain climber is a great opportunity for us to learn about how our shoulder strength and stamina is. For many of us, it's a hard exercise, and it can feel really demoralizing. I know it did for me for a lot of years, and that's another area that over the course of this year I just have felt such a change because I've been taking class with you all 4 days a week, and really, really have felt my shoulder strength just increasing a lot, which is super exciting. Oh, okay, my friends. Woo! How are you doing? Look, I promised you cardio, and you are getting a cardio class. So let's grab some water. Particularly important on cardio day because we are sweating a lot, and if you're not sweating, well, everybody's bodies work differently, but it also may mean that you could stand to push yourself a little harder. That's all. And again, everybody's bodies work differently, my friends, and don't let me or anyone else tell you that there is only one way to exist while exercising. I will say, though, that as an AFAB human, all of those deodorants for your private areas so you don't get sweat stains in the crotch, I would love to take every product like that and fire it into the sun. If you sweat while you're working out, congratulations. Your body's natural cooling system is doing what it's designed to do. And if you have big old sweat stains in the crotch, in the armpits, congratulations. That means that you worked your ass off, and you should be very, very proud of yourself. And it doesn't mean anything else, okay? Obviously, it's easier to not worry about that stuff when we're here in our apartments, but nothing makes me madder than people trying to shame others into buying unnecessary products to control perfectly natural processes, okay? Sweating is normal. Sweating means that your body has the ability to cool itself. Yay, sweating. We like it. All right. Last exercise, my friends. We are going back to our 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. This is our final Tabata. One exercise, 8 times through. That exercise is turtle burpees. Slightly different from the burpees we did in our warm-up. So roll up onto the shoulders, up onto the feet, jump back, and we do the wave push-up just like we did earlier. Jump your feet forward, jump up, down, and repeat. So it is different enough that you will need to concentrate a little bit more closely to make sure that you are doing the exercise correctly. All right, here we go. So this is our final Tabata, and then we'll do some stretching to just cool down and relax a little bit. Oh man, but let's get ready. Knock, knock, knock. Getting into position. And so for our final Tabata of class, we have been working so hard for all of the last hour. And we've been giving it our all, but we've also been doing some conservation of energy because, again, you want to be able to keep moving for the whole hour. This is the time when we get to leave all the remaining energy that we have here on our mats, all right? We're not saving it for any more class. We are just here to go for as much intensity as we can possibly get. And so this gives us the opportunity to really hunker in and push ourselves to round out class. Just imagine that you've been running some sort of a race and you are finally approaching that finish line, okay? And for anyone who's ever, done a half marathon or a 5K or anything like that, you know that when you get to that point, you find that last bit of energy that you didn't even know was still in there, and you get that final sprint to the finish line. And that is what we're doing here, my friends. We do not need to be holding back. The finish line is in sight, and we can really push ourselves as fast as we can to get there. Now is the time we get our cheerleaders out. Our internal cheerleader, get them out, put them on the floor next to your mat, next to your computer, your TV, whatever you're watching the stream on. They're doing their best floor routine. They're throwing pom-poms everywhere. They are cheering you on because you know what? You have made it through an hour of class, cardio class, on a Wednesday. You know, it's night out, it's winter time, so it got dark at like 4 in the afternoon, and you have been quarantining for the last 9 months, you know, not getting to go to events, not getting to see family members, having to pay attention to everything that you do and touch when you're out of the house. And you know what? You should be so proud of yourselves because you are here. You turned on the stream today and you said, all right, I'm going to take class. I am going to do this thing for my body, for my health. I'm going to work out a little bit to make sure that I have the strength and the power and the stamina to keep doing whatever I need to be doing. And you do. Look at you. You have made it to the end of class, my friends. This is our final interval right here, and we have nothing left to hold back. We are just going for it, doing those push-ups, checking in on that form, but really making sure that we are pushing ourselves as much as we can until that timer goes off. Oh, good job, everybody. Oh my gosh, that was such a good class. I've been feeling really brain foggy for a lot of the last few weeks. You know, anyone who's been taking class with me knows that I've been struggling with a lot of shoulder pain. And on Monday, I finally made it into my chiropractor for the first time since all of this began. And it has really helped. It's not a one and done. Hopefully I'll be able to go back to her at some point in the next few weeks, assuming that we don't get a full-on lockdown. But the difference is striking, and it feels really nice to be able to come in here and put my all into class again. Oh, all right, my friends, let's do some stretching. Let's start with just a nice back twist. So let's lie down on our mats, and first just bring both of your knees in towards the chest and wrap your arms around them and just let yourself rock back and forth, okay? Nice deep breaths. Again, we're getting those heart rates back under control. We're getting that breathing back under control. All right, it's a nice part of the cool down. Now, we are going to let one leg extend flat on the floor. Keep that other knee in towards the chest. And we're going to take that knee over, twist it over. So we have a nice twist going all along the back. Both of my shoulders should still be on the floor, okay? So with one shoulder, it's super easy. But this back shoulder, it's gonna want to try and pull up. One of the ways that we prevent that is by looking away from the knee towards the other hand, like I'm doing now, okay? And now we can give ourselves 4 nice deep breaths here. Just really luxuriate in that spinal twist. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Bring that knee back up to your chest. Bring the other knee to meet it. Rock back and forth a little bit. And then other side. So extend your other leg straight on the floor. Bring that knee across. You may get a little bit of cracking along your spine. Nice home adjustment. Both shoulders flat on the floor. Look away from the knee towards that back arm. And let's take those 4 deep breaths here. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Back onto your back, knees in, rock back and forth, and up. And let's extend our legs straight out in front of us, okay? A little bit of a flex in the feet. And I am going to, I'll take my glasses off. I am going to reach forward towards my feet, and I'm going to let myself fold over my legs, okay? So you're going to get a lot of stretch along those hamstrings. Try and keep the knees straight down towards the floor. Don't let them bend up too far. But you also, when you're down here, you want to be able to shake that quad around, okay? You don't want to be clenching your leg muscles, all right? The whole point is that we let them stretch out naturally, okay? So here we are. And again, we're going to take those 4 deep breaths and try and deepen our fold on each exhale. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Oh. Roll back up. And our final stretch, let's do a butterfly stretch. So soles of the feet together. Knees fall open. We're going to fold over. Remember, keep a flat back position and walk it forward as far as you can until you can't go any farther before you let the upper back curve over. That's going to help bring your lower back closer in towards your hips, which will help deepen the stretch, all right? So flat back, walk those hands forward. When you go as far as you can let the upper back curve over. And again, let's take those 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. Oh, all right, my friends. I think that we are done. Woo! Oh, man. What an awesome class. Oh, that was exactly the pick-me-up that I definitely needed this week. You know, it can be, there's a lot of stress happening
right now in the world in a lot of different ways. And, you know, we've lost a lot of our usual outlets. You know, we can't go and socialize with our friends, spend time, you know, sit on a couch, watch a movie, go to a bar and hang out and have a pint or five. You know, even something as seemingly simple as like going for a walk requires making sure you're masked up and making sure that you're staying appropriately distanced. We've lost a lot of outlets. And so a lot of that stress buildup, which already existed, you know, before the pandemic, before the beginnings of the modern reckoning with white supremacy in this country, before the shitstorm that has been the presidential election process over the last couple of months, there was already a lot of stress buildup that would happen over the week. And, you know, we tend to notice it in that midway point where we're like, I'm so far away from where I want to be, but I'm also far away from where I started. I feel like I'm in no man's land. And having a good cardio class to just be like, I want to get all of this stress energy out of my body. I want to expel it. I want to exorcise it. Exercise to exorcise. And it's amazing. It is amazing what an awesome cardio class can do. You know, it gives us this safe activity to just really take all of that energy, all of that frustration, all of that anxiety, that fear, that anger, that sadness, whatever you're going through, and pour it all out onto our mat. And, you know, in the best case scenario, it gives us an opportunity to shut off our brain's connection to the things that are worrying us. Worst case scenario, maybe you're still worried by the end of class, but you've also had a good workout. And so if that's all you were able to do today, just get on the mat and do the thing. Awesome. And if you got on the mat today and you dug in and you're like, all right, this is my opportunity to really just experience class and get all this energy out, awesome. And yeah, it's one of the things I love about this class. This is one of my favorite classes each week. Because it's a pick-me-up, and I think we all really need it. And now what we all need is a shower and a good dinner. Start replenishing those energy stores. Wash all that sweat off if you feel clean and shiny and new. We had a nice little stretch sequence. Please feel free to keep stretching if that wasn't enough. I don't do a ton of stretching yet, although I hope to change that over the next few months, get like a real good sized stretching cool down sequence at the end of class. But you know, for now, if you want to do more stretching, please feel free. You don't need me. You don't need my help for that. Oh man. But we have 2 more classes this week. Woo woo. So on Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time is Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class, which is my other favorite class of the week. Anyone who does functional home fitness, I may be playing around a little bit with the format this week. I'm not positive yet, but I know it usually has a pretty pretty regular format, and I may play around with that a little bit this week. So if you're coming, be prepared for possibly some new stuff. Don't fear, but yeah, just something to think about. If you haven't tried out those classes, please check them out. See what you think. We've got a nice array of classes throughout the week. And I'd like to think that there's something for everyone. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All of those handles will be in my end cards, but they are all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload the VODs for all of these classes, and there's also going to be a ton of additional materials going up there over the next few weeks and months, so definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me financially in making these streams, making this content, I do have a coffee account at Blanche Case Fitness. Donations are always very much appreciated. And if you want to help me keep growing, building this channel, please do give us a follow. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome workout. As I said, we're here 4 days a week, and we always have a great time. So definitely would love to see you back here. All right. Finish your water and refill it. Have a good dinner, good shower. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Please be safe. Wash your hands and wear a mask if you have to leave your house. Minimize trips outside the house. Take care of each other. It's been a hell of a year, and we're not out of the woods yet. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and I will see you back here on Friday. Mwah. Have a great night.